If you had to ask me, David, what is the single most important feature for your RoboVacuum today? It is going to be the AI obstacle detection, because a lot of these RoboVacuums are now coming with similar components. Some might have mop pads that are going to roll, some are going to have spinning mop pads, some are going to have clean stations with hot air drying or hot water washing. Depending on what the features are, they're all coming with a lot more than what we expected just 2-3 years ago. But what we have found is that testing unit to unit, the same thing still lies true. You want the RoboVacuum that can finish every session. If you do not have a RoboVacuum that can finish every session, why are you paying $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for it? Because the whole idea of a robot vacuum with AI is to do the work when you are not home, when you don't have to tell it what to do, when you don't have to train it. Because your AI system should be getting better the more you use it. And the Roborocks and the Dreams and all these manufacturers are able to adjust and improve the AI over the air with software updates. So the future here is going to be how good is the AI obstacle detection. The Roborock SAROS is so much better than what you got from previous Roborocks. So look at your Roborock SAROS 10 and you'll notice that the build quality is quite nice. What that means, if you look at the solid build construction between all the various components, everything has been built better than before. And what I mean by that is that even if you look at all the accent pieces and how all the components go together, there's no areas that are just going to be sticking out like they were slapping things together. Even the subtle nature of the LED bar allows you to just enjoy what the Roborock SAROS looks like. And that is a big departure from what we saw with the Max 8V Ultra. Because even though they share similar technology where they share similar brush rolls, the unit and the unit design as well as the optical sensors and the reactive AI 3.0 is an immense upgrade over the previous model. And if you remember our review of the previous model, we actually said that, hey, I think the unit is really good, but the AI might not be ready for prime time. But now Roborock has hit it on nose. They have fixed their issues with their reactive AI, and now this is not only going to be able better to navigate your home, but also work better as a traditional robo vacuum. And that's because it can do many things that you want your robo vacuum to do. And what are those features? Well, let's take out our unit first and go through it. So Roborock has moved away from the design they used on their traditional budget Robovacs, and they are using an updated design for their premium models. And if you take this off, this is just going to be a magnetized cover. This is going to be the dustbin. And if you notice the dustbin here, it has been re-engineered. Traditionally, this would go from end to end, but now it has been basically cut in half. The drawback of that is that you now have a smaller dustbin. So you're going to find that your unit will fill up more quickly. And they probably have to cut the size of their dustbin because there's a water tank in here for a vibrant system that needs to be attached. So when you turn the SAROS 10 around, you might actually mistake this for the Roborock Max 8V Ultra. But you would be mistaken. That's because you notice on the brush roll, it's going to be different. So when I open it up and I take it out, the thought behind this design is that as the rollers rotate, you see that it's going to be open in the middle and the hair and the suction power is going to draw the hair off the rollers and into the dustbin. That's the design. It also actually works pretty effectively in real life, but everyone is coming up with their own way to deal with pet hair. Some people have put in like razor blades that are going to be cutting. Roborock is going with this, which is going to be quieter because there's no extra parts. It's really just the roller has been redesigned. Then you have the wheels. So these are not double knuckle wheels. They're not going to be the same wheels you get on the Curve, though it can pick itself up and go over thresholds maybe about a half an inch, but not more than that. You also have this updated wheel here, and you notice that there's going to be a brush. So that's going to be cleaning the wheel as it rotates so that things are not going to get clogged inside. So that's going to be a updated feature on your Roborock. There's going to be new sensors. You still have this, which is going to be a side brush roll that's not going to get tangled because it's not going to have 3 sides, so it's less likely to get tangled with pet hair than traditional brushes. And this is going to be the mop here. So if we remove the mop pad, it's going to be a standard mop pad. Not a huge difference here. We can slide it off, and you just slide it off if you want to take it off. And there's going to be nozzles here that are going to be adding water to your mop pad. So in order to remove your mop pad holder, there's going to be a button here on both sides. So all you need to do is press this and it's going to eject it from each side. So one of the key reasons why your Roborock SAROS 10 weighs more than its competition is going to be this. It's going to be the plate that stores or houses the mop pad for your Vibrance 4.0. And it is heavy. There is a weight in here and that allows it to put more pressure on the floor than before. And the other part about this is going to be your side brush. It does stick out and your unit will rotate into the corners, but it's not going to be an extending brush. To note, the side brush can pick itself up and down when it's not needed. And that just means that you're not going to have something just constantly rotating or being obstructive in the way. You're going to have that side mop pad, and this can also pick itself up and down as well. So you have a lot of features here that are going to be able to be customized to your floor. But the drawback is because of the Vibrance, it doesn't pick itself up as much as you hope. So I have a low pill carpet right here. And this is only a 1/4 inch. On a 1/4 inch, it is able to avoid touching the mop pad onto this level of rug or carpet. But anything taller than this, and I find that if it goes or it notices a stain and it presses downward, the mop pads will be in contact with your rug and you can have some transfer of some of that mop debris onto your carpet fibers. But that's not exclusive to your Roborock. You can still get that on circular mop pads or even on the Dream X50s and other Robovacs. Let's talk about mopping performance, because this is the most contentious issue for a lot of people when they're thinking about Robovacuums, at least on the premium side. Do you go with the spinning brush, or do you go with a rolling brush, or do you go with something like the Vibrance? I think the Vibrance works very well. As you can see here on our coffee test, it picked up everything, and even if you cleaned it up and you checked and you used a paper towel to see if there's any debris on the floor, there wasn't. It did the job, a solid job at that, and it did it quickly. Nevertheless, if you're using this on edges or borders or you're using larger areas, it's not going to have the same versatility you get with the rotating mop pads that can spin as well as extend outward. Having said that, because you can adjust the mop settings on your Vibrance that you can have it clean or wash itself after every room, I think in that case, you're going to find that this can actually make your floors sparkle better than a spinning brush. The coffee test, you can see that our mop pad is now dirty, and it is pretty dirty. Just by looking at the decoloration as well as all the brown on it. It's also pretty wet. So we're going to let our unit clean the mop pad. Then we're going to see how clean this is after just one clean cycle and see if it removes the stain. Otherwise, you might have to run it twice, and then we're going to let it dry and see if in 2 hours is this mop pad going to be fully dry. The other thing is that, as you can see, the mop pad is currently attached to the clean station. So it does have the capability to remove that heavy mop pad and leave it inside of the clean station so that your unit will only be a vacuum. And then once you want to send it out for mopping, it's going to reattach that mop pad for you again. Now let's take a listen to how loud our machine is here. Now when we take it open and we check if it was able to empty out the bin completely, yes, the dust bin has been emptied out completely. Even after 2 sessions, you can see that it does a very good job emptying it out itself. So let's take a look at the clean station after we have washed the mop pad and it has been reattached. So this is going to be the mop pad that has been reattached here, and it has currently been washed, but it has not been dried. So it is going to be reasonably wet, and that's because it's not that thick, but it is very clean. It's important to note that the next generation of clean stations are able to clean the trays on their own. In this case, there is no real removable tray outside of the dirty water tank, but you can see that the mechanism to clean your brush here is going to be more aggressive than what you get just with the spinning brushes, because this is where going to be much more agitation and it's going to be scraping it back and forth. So scraping, in my opinion, is going to make your brush cleaner because of the nature of this flat pad. It leaves more streaks because it's more fast to get overly saturated. So if you want the best results for your SAROS, you really want it to return back to the base more frequently, even though this will come with a tank and it can keep its mop pad more saturated. It's not going to have the same performance because once that mop pad is saturated, it's going to leave streaks, because what if the mop pad is already dirty? area where your water is going to drain out of. You can also remove that if you want, and that's just something that you would do like this. Just pop that out, and then you can take this out with you and then clean it on your own. And that's going to be where the tank is, and that's actually where all the water will go after its session and then be pumped into the dirty water tank. You will definitely notice the better build quality here, not just by the opening and closing mechanism, which this hinge is way more high quality than before. I mean, you guys can see it right here. It is a metal hinge that's going to be much more secure. The bag is centered here, and then behind the bag you have a small filter, and this is just going to be something that can open and close very easily. And it's going to be your auto detergent dispenser, and it's pretty standard. I mean, this is something, again, we see on other units now, where you just add the soap and your machine will add it into with the clean water. That is way better than having to add the detergent in the clean water. You open up your unit, you have this, which is going to give you access to your clean water and your dirty water. Traditionally, your clean water was on this side and your dirty water was on this side, but I think here it's a little bit different. Now, one thing you have to remember is that the clean water, the container outside of this little sign is the same, basically, or at least the same looking. So they're both going to be opaque. So it can get mixed up. You can mix up which one is which. So make sure clean water is with the blue and the dirty water has the white. The Roborock was also wanted your unit to have an easier time rolling in, especially because it's heavier. So you can see they added some track wheels on both sides, so it's just going to be able to glide right in. When we're looking at overall performance, especially on the vacuum side, I think that the side brush roll here from Roborock is a huge benefit because it doesn't get tangled. And I know it seems small, and when I first heard about it, I thought it would be inconsequential. But for hair tangles as well as anything that can spin around its cord, well, it's not going to get stuck on that. And that's a huge benefit. And I find that that also does a good job cleaning around your borders and getting all the crumbs. And the Roborock as a vacuum works very well because it still allows the side brush roll to be active in most situations. And it's going to put a lot of power to the floor. So regardless if you're thinking, oh, 22,000 Pascal or 20,000 Pascal or 15,000 Pascal, a lot of that is just numbers when you're talking about peak suction power. So really what we're seeing is just Roborock going back to its roots, where they're making a very good vacuum. And now it is capable of finishing every session. And the drawback here, if you're looking on the mop, is going to be, yes, it can be touching on your carpet or your rug. But because you can detach it inside of the clean station automatically, it's not as big of a concern as it was before. And here we're going to run a hair test. And I'm really just doing this to show you guys. You can see that the spinning brush is going to start capturing the hair, but the hair is not getting tangled in the spinning brush. And I found that to be incredibly versatile compared to other tests where every time we ran it with this type of long hair, which is going to be about a foot long each, the hairs would actually get tangled on the side brush way more than getting tangled on the main brush roll. And on the SAROS here, it does not happen. And look, I'm going to let you see the entire test here, and it is not getting tangled in that side brush. You don't see any of this blue hair or preventing it from finishing its session. And the crazy part about it is that hair is all being pulled into the center so that the hair is not going to get tangled. You do have to let it run in order for the hair to go into the center and get sucked through. And it is much easier if you set your SAROS at a higher suction power, especially if you're going to do a tougher stain. So just put it on max, put it on turbo if you think it's going to have a harder time picking things up off the ground. Now, this is going to be a navigation test, and you can see it navigates floors much better. It can navigate small toys. It can navigate your kids' toys. You can see how much better the SAROS 10 is identifying obstacles this time around. Just by, you can see how many marks it's putting on for the obstacles on the floor. Now, as you can see, there is an extension cord underneath our sofa, and this is something that is going to be a real life situation for a lot of people. So how is our Roborock going to handle this extension cord? This is a real life situation. that you have an extension cord underneath your sofa. Is it going to go around it? Is it going to get tangled in it? Remember, the curve did get tangled on this, so in terms of the SAROS, so the SAROS can pick itself up very gently, maybe about a quarter or half. Nevertheless, the performance for cables and AI obstacle detection is much improved with your SAROS, and I think that's just related to the AI obstacle database and just how quickly it can identify what is what as it navigates your home. Now for 2025, we are going to call the SAROS here from Roborock, the SAROS 10, the best Robovacuum right now to have come out in 2025. Because in my opinion, even though the Dream X50 has the extendable side brush as well as the extendable mop pad, it doesn't apply it as well as what we experienced with the X40, not on the floor. And I think that's just because they put the double jointed. It's not going to be putting as much downward pressure for carpets and rugs for vacuuming. And remember, this is a Robovac, so we care a lot about its vacuuming performance. What the SAROS does really well is that it provides a lot of weight, and it does a really good job as a vacuum. So even though the pathing now is going to be very similar between a Dream and a Roborock, I would say that if you're primarily using it for vacuuming, I'm a big fan of the Roborock. If you want the best overall value, in my opinion, and a unit that can really do everything without you having to do much and also looks really good inside of your home, well then the SAROS could be the answer for you. Because not only does it look really good, it works really well, and it's one of the first Roborocks that we are going to really recommend as one of the best for 2025. So with that, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, please let me know, and please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.